the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Battles to me because Brew's got a starting spot when he's back, and Squirrel's obviously going to start in the slot. That other spot out wide is really interesting to me because it could be Chris Brazzell, it could be Dante Thornton, it could still be Caleb Webb. We don't know. What do you like most about that Thornton Brazzell matchup, and do you think which one would you bet on more likely to pop on the outside of that third spot this year?
Yeah, I went with Brazzell in the starting spot just because the experience level that he has. I mean, his athletic ability is through the roof. He's one of the better guys that you could just throw it up and he's going to go up and get the ball for you. At that big touchdown in the spring game, as you recall. Now, that's not discounting Dante Thornton at all. He's got the size and speed that you want out of a receiver position. He just, I think his problem has been staying healthy. He gets nicked up a bunch. So with the fact that Brazzell has been able to stay on the field more, that's why I went with him ahead of Thornton.
I like it. What's your what's the best case scenario for Tennessee this year? Do you think it's CFP and win a couple games? Do you think it's CFP one and done? Do you think that there's a path to the SEC title game? Like, because you talk about like I think they're gonna be favored ultimately against Bama at home by the time they get there. We'll see. I think a lot of it's going to depend on how they play against Florida. And that when you talk about winning on the road in the SEC, I think they're going to end up splitting Arkansas and Oklahoma in those back-to-back weeks on the road. That's one of the actual bugs with Heupel to this point at Tennessee is they've struggled on the road. Like you said, a lot of teams struggle on the road, but like go back to Gainesville last year and what that was. And one of the hard parts is you can't replicate the crowd noise, right? Like it's just really hard for coaches in practice to replicate what it's like to be on the road in these crazy SEC atmospheres. But I don't know. I think in my estimation, it does feel a lot like 2022 in a way leading up to this season. I think they're a CFP team, and I think they should be. There is a path to the top three and maybe even an SEC title berth. Am I drinking too much orange Kool-Aid here, Phil?
Yeah, the SEC title game berth seems a tough path to get to it. There's a lot of good teams in front of them. Georgia, Texas, Alabama, and Ole Miss all, I think, have better paths to get there. But, I mean, the potential's there for Tennessee. If all this potential that we've been talking about in the defensive back seven, quarterback position comes to fruition, they find that depth at running back. Remember, they lose two of the top three running backs. They're still very solid, but can they be as deep as they were last year? That would be my question marks. The Oklahoma and Georgia games on the road are going to be tough, but I think Tennessee's got an excellent chance of making a playoff. Advancing all the way to the title game, I don't know if they have the depth. I mean, if you take a look at the overall talent Georgia has compared to Tennessee, the experience talent, and they go three deep at every position, I still think they may be a year or so away from actually competing for the national title. But I'll throw this out. In the FCS playoffs, which had been expanded, the third place team in the Colonial Division actually played in the title game 2 out of 3 years. It becomes a battle of attrition down the stretch, who stays the healthiest. So once you make the playoff, I mean, anything's possible.
I love it. Switching gears here a little bit in the SEC. Am I crazy for thinking the bottom falls out and South Carolina goes 3-9 this year?
I think you are.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.